I just looked at my notes for this, and one of them just says, needs more death. Like, okay, Ronnie, calm down. So, Y2K came out, and as per usual, I am way late talking about it. This was another movie that I was really excited for, and I was waiting for it to come out, and then it did, and I just didn't get around to watching it for a long time. But I finally watched it, and it was a movie.
It feels like a movie.
Now, I heard some not so great things about this movie before I watched it, but I was perfectly willing to believe that it was just Rachel Zegler and people hating on her, and not that the movie was actually bad. I love A24, I love Jaden Martell, I love Julian Dennison, I love the plot idea and the general vibe that I felt like they were going for. How could it not be awesome? But I was wrong. It wasn't Rachel, it was just bad. To be fair, the first half hour of this movie was actually pretty great. I was digging it. It was so much fun. I was like, wow, people must really have it out for Zegler because this movie is fantastic. I was laughing out loud. Like, you know, when you watch a movie by yourself and you laugh out loud and it feels weird because no one else is there? Yeah, that was me. It was giving me kind of Sasquatch Gang vibes. Has anyone seen the Sasquatch Gang? Anywho, I was thinking this was going to be pretty great. And then that ended. But anyway, we are going to be getting into spoiler territory now. So if you have not seen Y2K and you want to go in spoiler free, this is your sign to get out of here. So we start out with best friends Eli and Danny, played by Jade Martell and Julian Dennison, on the last day of 1999. I really like both of these actors. They had good chemistry together as friends. It's that kind of pairing where one really needs the other. Like, neither of them is all that funny on their own. So I sure hope one of them doesn't die. We also get to meet Eli's super cringy parents. His mom is played by Alicia Silverstone. Really nice to see these two in a movie together again. They certainly have a happier ending here than they did last time. If you've seen The Lodge, well, then I'm sorry you had to go through that. I myself still haven't fully recovered. Anyway, Eli and Danny are your typical high school nerd duo. Basically, Eli is Michael Cera and Danny is Jonah Hill. Tired of being outcast, Eli and Danny decide to get drunk and head to a New Year's Eve party, where Eli hopes to get a midnight kiss from his popular crush Laura, played by the beloved Rachel Zegler. Now, this whole setup part of the movie was actually really good. The comedic chemistry was working. It's 11. It's 11. The comedic chemistry was working. There were a few scenes that made me really laugh. Like, this one actually got me really good.
I'm gonna need you to pay for this.
There's this one scene where Kyle Mooney goes to get stoned and he slips out of his work Birks and into his comfy Birks, and that just really got me for some reason. Like, it was all just so stupid and fun. So Eli and Danny go to this party. Eli fails to get his kiss from Laura, and come midnight, all hell breaks loose. The electronics become sentient. They start joining together to form these, like, robots, and they just start brutally murdering high school students, which was pretty awesome. Like, a VCR spits out a tape and just decks a kid in the face with it. But the problem is, this energy really falls off after this scene. I feel like if you're going into a horror comedy movie about Y2K, you're expecting a lot of wacky robot murders, you know? But outside of this one scene, we just really didn't get that, which was pretty disappointing. Needs more death. The next problem is that Danny is one of the kids who gets killed. I think we all thought he was going to be a main character here, but when he dies, we're maybe only like 30 minutes into the movie. If that's the shock factor move that you want to go for, then that's fine. It works really well in some movies, but this isn't that movie. Between Julian and Jaden, Julian is by far the stronger comedic actor. Jaden has a very unaggressive comedic style. It's mostly acting awkward and making funny faces, which, don't get me wrong, he's really good at, but it's just not enough to carry a movie like this. He needs his Jonah Hill. So our ragtag group of misfits make it out of the house and set off looking for a safe place to hide out. All of the strongest comedic characters have been killed off, and it's at this point that the movie really starts to drop off. From here on out, the movie was just not very funny. All of the characters that were left were like the least funny ones, and the back two-thirds of this movie really suffers because of it. A lot of the things that were meant to be funny just stopped landing and kind of got too stupid, but in the wrong way, if that makes sense. I can find really obnoxiously stupid stuff funny, like think Napoleon Dynamite Nacho Libre type stupid, right? but this was just mostly stupid and not funny. There were a couple of things that made me laugh. Like, I actually thought the porta potty scene was pretty funny, which is weird because porta potty humor is porta potty hum- porta porta potty humor just isn't really my thing generally, but it just got me for some reason. I couldn't tell if this movie was taking itself too seriously or not seriously enough. It seems like it's supposed to be just this super fun, dumb, nostalgic good time, but then they keep on throwing in all of these things that are supposed to be taken more seriously, like Danny's death, and those scenes just fell really flat. There's this one scene where Eli has to tell Danny's mom that Danny didn't make it, and it just felt so emotionally barren. I don't know if it was Jaden Martell or the script. Like, we all know that Jaden can do the thing, but this was just not it. Maybe they wanted to keep it from getting too heavy, but then don't put these kinds of scenes in the first place. It just felt really tonally unbalanced. My next complaint is with the characters themselves. Like I said, all the funniest characters were killed off in like the first 30 minutes, and the characters that we were left with just left a lot to be desired. We never really got much of a sense of who they were as people, and without that, you just can't really convince an audience to care about what happens to them. Our two leads, Eli and Laura, are just so bland, and there is nothing going on there romantically. I have no idea why these two characters are supposed to be into each other, and the movie just gives them nothing. Jaden and Rachel were both fine in the roles. They were funny, and they did a good enough job. It's just, there was really nothing there for them to work with. There were these two kind of like background main characters, CJ and Ash, played by Daniel Zolgadri and Lachlan Watson, and they had so much more character development and a way more interesting connection with each other than our actual main characters. Why weren't they the leads? They're the best characters in the movie. Side note, this is actually the second movie that Daniel Zolgadri and Jade Martell have done together. If you haven't seen Low Tide, I highly suggest you check it out because that's an actually good A24 movie. While we're talking about character development, I want to touch on one other thing that isn't exactly character development, but it kind of feels related. Rachel Zegler's character, Laura, is supposed to be this popular girl, and because of that, she's kind of like a villain to all of the losers at school, right? There's this scene where someone calls her out for not knowing their name, and that's supposed to mean that she's like stuck up or something. I'm sorry, but do you know the name of every single person you went to high school with? Because I sure don't. And I wasn't popular. Shocker, right? You don't hang out in the same circles. Why is it her responsibility to know every single person in the school? And if she doesn't, then she's a bitch. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's such a weird and unrealistic expectation to put on someone. And on top of that, it's not like she's even mean to the less popular people. Her and Eli have this casual type friendship at the beginning of the movie, and she talks to him, she's nice to him. If they really wanted to have her be this snob that has to learn to like grow and accept the less popular crowd and become friends with them,
Those losers are my friends.
then they really needed to start her off in a different place than how she was portrayed, because she seemed perfectly nice to me.
I'm nice. I'm a nice person.
Anyway, those are my thoughts on Y2K. This movie had so much potential, and it was such a disappointment, especially because I really wanted to love it. While I was trying to write this video, I thought that maybe I should watch it again because I was like having trouble accessing my thoughts on it. But the last hour of this movie felt like 3, and I just really didn't want to sit through it again. If you've seen Y2K, let me know your thoughts on it down below. I would love to hear some more opinions on it. Please give this video a like if you made it all the way to the end. And if you love movies as much as I do, you should really consider subscribing.